Let's now discuss about coupling. What is coupling and how we can reduce coupling? Coupling is a measure of how much a particular class is dependent on other. That's the definition right here. It's basically a measure of how much a class is dependent on other. In an ideal world, there should be as minimum dependency between classes as possible. Let's consider an example. What we are doing in here is we are kind of calculating the cost of all the things which are there in a particular order. So an order, for the order we use a shopping cart. So what happens is on a website, a lot of people put stuff into the shopping cart and create one order. And at the end, we want to calculate price of the entire order, and to calculate the final price, you have things like tax, sales tax, a variety of taxes that added up, all that kind of thing. And we have a sample implementation. All the code is in GitHub. You can look at the repository in 28 minutes in github.com, and you should find these examples very easy. So this example, particular one, we have a shopping cart entry. So entry has price and quantity. So basically, I want to buy 5 brinjals. Each brinjal costs me 2 rupees or $2, €2 based on wherever you live. A shopping cart consists of a number of shopping cart items. So, and the order consists of a number of shopping cart and also the appropriate sales tax. This kind of a sales tax calculation might be very simplistic. The actual calculations might be more complex, but we are just taking a simple example. And the calculation of the total price of the order. So what it's doing in here, basically, this method, order total price, what it's doing is in I is equal to 0, I less than carts.item. So it's basically looping around the cart and it's trying to sum up the price and quantity. So it's multiplying multiply price and quantity for each one of the items in the order, and it's trying to determine the order total price at the end by using the sales. If you look at this particular class, this class order knows everything about the other classes as well. It knows that the items, for example, in here, it knows that items is an array. So if let's say I'm changing the items from an array, instead of an array, I'm saying I would want to change this array list. What would happen? Or a list. You can see that as soon as I change the list, there are compilation errors in the other class. So basically, the order class is tightly coupled to the shopping cart class. Let's undo the change. And it's also tightly coupled to the shopping cart entry class, because if I change, let's say instead of price, I want to call today's price or something of that. You'd see as soon as I change this, there are compilation errors in other classes too. And that means the order class is dependent on the shopping cart entry. So the objective of having minimal coupling is to have as less dependencies in classes as possible. How do we achieve that? Let's look at the solution to this particular thing right now. So let's build up the solution for this. If you look at this particular implementation of the same thing, in the shopping cart entry, we have a price and a quantity. So we have a get total price inside the shopping cart entry, which does price and quantity. So it's multiplying price into quantity and giving the total price. The cart contents, on the other hand, if you look at it, it's getting the total price now indirectly in here. So it's calling the item.getTotal price, which is defined above. It's using that method, it's looping around it, and it's calculating the total price and returning it back. And the order is only dependent on, it's calling the method get total price and then adding sales tax to it. That's it. It's not worried about anything else. Now, let's just say I'm changing this from an array to array list. How we change it? Actually, I'm importing the this.ut and then it compares. The lucky fact was we are using an enhanced for loop, so it made things much easier. But even though if there were changes, let's say I'm changing it to a map or something of that kind, not really good, but let's say I'm changing it to a map. Even then, the only compilation errors you would see are inside this particular class alone. So the only thing which I need to modify is the card contents class alone. I would not need to modify anything else outside this particular class. And the same way, if I'm changing this variable, let's say from price to price dummy or whatever, all that I need to do is changes in here. So this is what is also encapsulation, because the changes are encapsulated in here, as well as there is very minimal dependencies between the classes themselves. So a lot of these concepts that we are discussing, encapsulation, coupling, correlation, are actually a lot tied up with each other. You can't separate each one of them and look at them individually. But actually, if you do a proper implementation, then you would end up with simple maintainable code just like this. So whatever we do here is try to reduce the coupling between different classes. It's always preferable to have as less coupling between classes as possible.
Thanks for joining more than a million students who are learning from us. At In 28 Minutes, we defined a learning roadmap for Java and front-end developers. We created more than 25 courses covering all the topics that you are seeing on the screens. There are 4 things you can do to make best use of these courses. Number 1 is Udemy. You'll find a link in the description of the video to our Udemy profile. We are teaching a lot of courses on Udemy and most of them are free. Number 2, visit our website www.in28minutes.com. You'd find tons of information including how you can register for our trainings and the link to Udemy and our GitHub code as well. Number 3, visit our GitHub repository. With more than 20 repositories covering varied examples, it's a comprehensive source of information and code. Last but not the least, you'll find a set of discount codes for all our Udemy courses in the description as well. Feel free to use them. Good luck from the team here at In 28 Minutes, your destination for high quality step-by-step courses.